If you start finding yourself getting into tracker knives, like I did a while back, you'll find out that there's an endless array of options on Amazon. There's one out there that's priced significantly lower than every other tracker out there. So I had to do a review on it. Stick around. 20 years ago when I watched the movie The Hunted, I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was great. Well, as the years went on, I started reflecting back on that movie. I started reflecting back on how much a knife was used. I started reflecting back on some of the training that was done in that movie and how much the movie focused on that knife and the tracker knife in particular. And I just started getting more and more curious about it and watched the movie again, and I had a whole different experience the second time around. I'm thinking the tracker that we're going to be looking at today is the most inexpensive knockoff from that film. I don't agree that this knife resembles the knife from the movie, but it's called the Hunted Forest Tracker T3 hunting knife, and it is by Armory Replicas. Now, I have reviewed a couple of their products in the past, such as a spear tip, but today, let's look at this knife. Now, I want you to get a look at the sheath. This sheath is very different. This is one of the areas in particular where they cut the cost. I'm not a big fan of this. It gets the job done. It's just nothing fancy to it. But let's pull the tracker out and let you get a look at it. Right now, I'm not willing to spend the amount of money I'd have to spend to get the Beck tracker, which is really what the movie was modeled after. So what I do is I look for budget trackers that closely resemble the Beck model, because I think that's the best one. And I have found a few that do. The handle's already a little bit loose. You know, I can tighten that up. This is made in China. You can see it's got a little bit of a saw here on the back so that you can cut out some grooves when you're bushcrafting. Got a nice curve here for you to do your carving. Now, here's the thing. If you look at this and you like it, it's 15 bucks, and it's got a lot of weight to it. It feels to be about, you know, well over a half a pound, and it's got some weight and some sturdiness to it. Looks to be about 4 millimeters thick, which is thick in my opinion. The product description just says stainless steel. Let's see if it'll shave. Not shaving sharp. Let's see if it's paper sharp. Paper sharp. We've got as a plastic handle here, camouflage. This is just going to be my opinion only. If I were designing a budget tracker like this, I would go with a more plain looking handle. Like, I think a gray handle on this would look awesome. I think a gray handle instead of this camouflage. See, this is busy to me. I know some of you may like it. To me, that just looks busy. Gray or even black. A lot of times with a budget item like this, less is more. I'm probably going to end up putting black hockey tape on this handle anyway, because I'll be throwing it over time. I'm going to do a little bit of work with the blade now just to see how it feels in the hand, and then after that, we're going to throw it. Now, these grooves on the back don't make a really great saw, but, you know, if you were trying to cut a notch for some rope, you know, you could get in here and at least cut some notches out. You know, it wouldn't be anything definitive. You could just use this to kind of cut into it a little bit. Something that's not a knife, but just enough to make you like a little notch there. You want to do your batoning with this part right here. Cuts right in. Cut right through that pretty good. I'll just chop through the rest and let you see, you know, how you can chop with a tracker. A tracker is look there. Tracker is a really good chopping mechanism. I love these things. Now I'm going to take this curve here and just get in that corner and begin to carve down. You see what's going on. Get right in that corner and start cutting and carving. A little tough piece right there. Wrapping off these curls. I like that. I like being able to carve on the inside of that little angle. If you can keep this sharp, I find it very useful. I like the way it felt when I was working with it. I like tracker knives a lot. I love how they are good for so many different tasks. Chopping, batoning, carving, handling. You know, this may be 15 bucks, but if you were out in the middle of nowhere and you had nothing and I handed you this, you'd hug my neck and you'd probably never let go. I like to make videos like this because, you know, I'm thinking to myself, there might be people out there that really want a tracker knife, but they might not be able to afford a GCS tracker or a Tops tracker. Listen, if you're in that place, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Get this tracker knife. You'll get a lot of use out of it. When you get more money down the way, you can get another tracker knife. Who says you only got to have one tracker knife? But if you want something to get you started, this will get you started. This works very well. You'll need to keep it sharp and just maybe keep the handle tightened up. But other than that, you've got a tool that you can work with here. So if you saw the movie The Hunted, you're familiar with the part where they were training with the knives and even like making these tracker knives. And then at the very end of the scene, you saw Benicio del Toro throwing the tracker. It looked really cool. That's what I'm getting ready to do now. And what's great about a $15 knife is you're not afraid to throw it. I'm gonna try several different kinds of throws. I think rotational throwing is gonna be the best with this knife. I could possibly do some hammer grip, no spin. Military half spin, you know, could be a little bit difficult with this wide blade trying to hold it like this, but you know, we'll try a few things out. Sweet. One of the cool things about throwing a tracker is that it feels like throwing a knife and a hatchet all at once. Let's try a no spin hammer grip throw. Whew. Boss level. I think the tracker knife actually excels as a throwing knife because of its weight and power and the way it cuts into the target. Let's just say this was being thrown in combat. Even if this knife were to land here, all it would do is cut into the target. It wouldn't have to hit exactly on this point. Even if it hit here, it would just cut right into the target, giving a lot of margin for error. So when throwing a tracker, there's a lot more margin for error if you're close. Now, not so much if you're too far away, but if you're close, it can just cut in. If you'll notice with my first no spin throw, I kind of chopped into the target. I didn't hit it so much straight on, but I kind of chopped in. If you want to preserve your handle over time, just tape it up. Take a look at that penetration in the most fresh part of that wood. Some of you may even remember this drill from the movie. 1, 2, 3. The Hunted Forest Tracker from Armory Replicas. It does a little bit of everything, and I think it's a stellar piece of equipment for 15 bucks. I will provide a link in the description for you to pick one up if you like. Take care.